Welcome back to Dawn Hunters.
I'm William.
And I'm Yana.
You can see we're out on the water with the electric motor because we're testing this little beast out. We're also working on dinghy davits and some more stuff on the inside of the boat.
This is not a little beast, excuse me. This is the fastest and the biggest and the best electric motor we've had so far. We wanted to show you guys what it looks like, compare all the motors that we had prior, and we're gonna just talk all things electric this episode. This is my choice of motor, and if you see the previous videos you can see why. But of course, men are men and they have to go bigger and bigger and bigger. Who knows where we're gonna end up? Married to an engineer, I lost count the amount of motors and dinghies that we had. Let's take a look at the next size up. You know, before having this baby one, I thought this one was light, but now it's kind of heavy. It's like this. I mean, it's still doable, but now when you are on a rocking boat or dinghy and you're trying to put it down, it's not as light as the other one. And I'm gonna let the engineer tell you about this beast because this is a pro level, my friends.
In search of the perfect dinghy will never end, but in search of the perfect electric outboard, I have found the Ferrari of outboards. Yeah, this is a little bit bigger than the little babies here, but we're going to cover some more details about this. It's a Momentum 20 horsepower with a 72 volt battery. It's a nice light package, and the motor just clips and pulls off the back of the dinghy. But now we're testing on this dinghy. It's way too much power, so I can't wait to get the aluminum one back, and then we can do the real test. But let's show you what this guy's got compared to what I've not seen in the last 7 years. The new davit system, I first had a tilting davit, and now I went over to a tube because we can extend this tube based on where we want the dinghy to be and put it away. So it slides forward and then locks into place, which gives us the ability out here to hook different points of lift, whether it's this dinghy, whether it's the aluminum dinghy. And this gives us the opportunity to take this dinghy and put it up on top. When we're going around the anchorages, then we can have two dinghies on the back ready to go pretty easily into the water. I did add an electric winch on the back, so we have that for anchoring or pulling us into the dock. It also allows us to pull the battery in and out without using any kind of muscles. So I'm gonna show you how we now lower the dinghy. The opposite is getting the dinghy back in again. So we have three different ways to get this dinghy onto the boat, depending on the weather and what kind of conditions we have. And we have just launched the dinghy. It also gives us a chance to get in and out of this thing without bouncing and kicking all over the place. Let's get this motor turned on and go test the beautiful calm waters out here. We have multiple trim positions, which we'll go over later on in detail, but this is it. We turn the switch on and this guy is ready to go. There's a 2-speed button, one for high speed and one for low, and for reverse. That's slow speed, and now we're going to give some high-speed tests here, which I have to hold on. Another cool feature that we've learned by being in Thailand is the water gets shallow super fast and has rocks. So this unit has left or right ability to either drive or also bring the motor up to different heights. In this case, now the motor is above the transom, so now we can actually run the motor what I call long tail mode, so we can still keep going forward without having any problem hitting the rudder or anything. If you hear the noise. Instant forward and reverse, so you don't even have to worry about changing the lever. As you can see with this motor, we have Yana speed. Right now we're doing 2 knots, which is what the little blade does. Actually, it does about 3 knots wide open. This is saying that we have 98 kilometer range at this speed, which is about 7 days of charge. The unit has a throttle, naturally, forward, reverse, and a cruise control, so you can lock that in and you're not having to hold your speed. It also, for different angles, you can change arm, so if you're standing up and holding onto a rope, you can be riding along like this. It also helps when you're trying to trim the motor, because now you have the right leverage point. And you can trim all the way up for in a trailer or on the beach, and then you can trim partially in the water. And now I like to say that this is long tail mode, because in Thailand everybody has a long tail, so they're not beaching the thing. Now, it doesn't go fast, but it lets you get to the beach without having to jump off or worry about hitting rocks, because your bottom will hit before that. I'm going to bring it all the way down. We still have the little blade motor here, so if I want to snap this off and take it off the boat, Yana can put her little blade in here and she can still zoom around without having the battery and the motor here. Neat thing is that this motor is super light. I'm going to put all the details below in the comment about it. The battery has a special waterproof military connection, both on motor and battery, that can be removed. It is 72 volts. It gives you an indicator of how much power is in it by LEDs, and it's about half the weight of all the other batteries I've been testing, because this guy is going to give us, well, to date, I guess we've got 4 or 5 days on it and we haven't even charged it yet. It does come with a high-speed charger. For in about 2 hours from a dead charge, you're at least gonna be able to go somewhere. And again, I'll put all the specs below on this whole unit. It's by Momentum. It's an M10. It's a 20 horse. They also make a little bit smaller version, but this guy is what is going on our aluminum dinghy. What do you think about the battery? Can you turn it on? Here.
Since having electric motors, we were always a little bit concerned about the charge. Me running my phones usually to 1%. Guess who was responsible for charging the electric motors and their batteries? William. So now with this new battery, this is working really well for us, and we took it quite long ways, and we went and had coffees and had lunches to nearby islands. I'm honestly really impressed. I still can't get my head around the fact that it's not 48 volt. I'm still kind of like being a little cautious about it and keep asking William, is it gonna electrocute me? But from the looks of it, the battery box actually looks really nice and kind of like solid. I'll be honest with you, I'm not as afraid as I thought I would be of a 72 volt battery. I'm quite impressed.
And you know, guys, this is not a paid advertisement. It's not something we're doing for anyone other than ourselves. But we have not had gasoline on our boat, being off-grid people, for the last 4 years. Yes, sometimes we have issues, but never have had failures. It's just that we couldn't go very far. And now we've gone already 20 nautical miles away and turned around and came back, and we only had used 20% of the battery. And that was moving along sometimes 10, 12 knots. The 72 volt with the weight to current ratio is the lightest on the market. It's using military type connectors, so I can hose the whole thing off when I come back and not even worry about any issues of it getting wet either.
The king of the dinghies in that big super yacht. Can you imagine that the second floor or whatever floor inside this yacht? This is so interesting. I've never seen that before. It's like so high up. I've never seen them take it off yet, but it's quite amazing. So you can see, guys, we came to the island. This is already super shallow, so now we can put the motor up and be in the long tail mode. And now even higher.
This is really tough that you just glide up and tell the dog he can go.
Free. He's gone.
Looking for snakes. If you'd like to talk more about this, I'm going to be at the booth at Metz to explain all the advantages and the things that we put this motor through and Jana's put through. So check out in the link below, and hopefully we're going to see you there. Another super feature is that you can push a button, snap your motor out, take it inside, and then you can put your little tiny motor on if you want. The bracket stays in the transom, motor's inside, and now nothing to steal.
The dinghy lift on a Saba is hydraulic, which works great. It lifts pretty much any boat, but then when this lift breaks, then you have no way of raising the dinghy up. And once we had just that. And of course that happened in storm. The dinghy was bouncing around. It like broke somewhere in the middle and it was just a whole disaster. And actually it was at night. We have a video, I'll put it in here. It was just like not a good situation. And I said to William, like, why there is no better solution than this kind of situation?
Another thing that you don't realize until you're out at anchor, the waves are bouncing back and forth, is that catamaran, you have two hulls, and in the middle is where all the shit's coming down and making you bounce all over. So having our boat, the new Dawn Hunter, with the movable platform, we're gonna be able to lower that thing down, and now the waves are being stopped, and now you have at least a calm, safe place to get off that dinghy.
This is an old sunshade for the boat, and we first didn't know what they were for. We found them somewhere wrapped. Finally now we found them, but now they're wrong color and also they're quite old. Also the added benefit is that they actually also protect from the rain. So when it's raining now, the rain does not come inside of the boat, kind of like repels rain as well. So we got the new sunshades on and cushions, so we're going to be putting this on and you guys can see what it looks like. Finally some woman stuff instead of all these bolts and nuts and motors.
I always get concerned with these things because I make a quick sketch. The guy comes here and nods 10 times and suddenly he drops off 20 cushions and a bunch of sunshades. And he takes 10 back because 10 were not made right. They had the gray and the black mixed up. But luckily the outside's cool, so we're gonna see if this is gonna work. You guys know Captain Nut, better known as Captain Do Whatever we're all doing at the same time. So this takes two people to get it up there. Good. A little elastic cord, some snap hooks, and it looks like this is a winner. Now we have 3 more to install.
It actually drives me nuts when I see the boats in the marinas that have all these crazy colors. I'm like a mono kind of person, so now it's super nice looking. Look, our sail cover, our sails, everything is just like dark. And even our decks are dark gray. I know many of you guys prefer the light decks, but we went for the looks. It's hot as hell, but it looks nice. Anyway, so yeah, you can see now everything is just like dark gray, and now the sail cover is dark gray. All the soft goods going to be dark gray with black. More like a Alaska kind of weather situation when the black will be like attracting the solar rays. But anyways, we're going to fry our ass, but it's going to be worth it because it's going to be pretty.
Had a huge problem up here with the sail sack is that it kept collecting water and getting super heavy. So we added these water drainage pockets on both sides, front and back. We've also now added the lazy jacks and lazy jack tie downs and locks for the lazy jack. We're pretty damn close to taking this boat out and test these sails. And finally, we've added the LEDs up and down the mast and the LED lights both facing forward and down, so I can switch the top deck being lit up or forward facing. And now we get to mount the camera system so we can see in low light. We are almost finished up here.
Here are the remaining cushions that are right, so I'm going to show you this. You can see we decided to go with gray, added some black piping to collect some crumbs in here. That was, I'm joking, that was like a William idea, because he's saying that without piping they will be sliding because of the sofa design, whatever. You cannot have no piping. I don't like piping because I just said they collect crumbs and all kinds of food in them, but you let me know in the comments if you like piping or not. But it does look nicer with piping, I agree to that. So the cushions also have the backing, has Velcro for attachment, and also we added zippers to be able to take this out and wash them, because we do have a small dog now. He's allowed on the couch with his nasty paws. That's why also we went with a little bit darker gray. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Actually, having sewn since I was about 5, because my dad is a seamstress, sewer, and carpenter, having the piping gives you an exact perfect straight line, and without it the cushion kind of curves over, and after time it looks like it's 30 years old when it's 1 year old. So the piping does give rigidity. And as far as crumbs, I was raised you eat in one place, at the table. But in Yana's case, she eats wherever it's comfortable. So she eats here, she sleeps here sometimes. She's even cleaning dog's teeth sometimes. So that's why we have the zippers. I can remove a cover, wash it, and put it back into position. The foam is marine foam, so even if it gets soaking wet, it doesn't mold or mildew. We open up the zippers, lay it out in the sun, and dries. Time to get all this shit out of the way so we can put the cushions on the sofa.